Hi everybody, I'm Chanelle Adams and welcome to my channel. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Black Panther movie. Oh my gosh, this has been such a revolutionary movement. This was more than just a movie. I felt so honored to be a part of it. I was a little sad because if you don't know, I'm here in Colombia and I was not able to be a part of the movement that was going on in the United States, where everyone was dressing up together. You know, I saw that some people had potlucks going on in the movie theater. Like, that is something that I would have loved to have been a part of. Here in Colombia, it was a little bit different. There were some Black Colombians that came out to see the movie, but where the movie theater that I went to, it was predominantly white Colombians, or mestizo, but predominantly white Colombians. But the place was packed. The movie theater was packed. People did not care that it was an all-Black cast. People came out to support the movie because they were genuinely interested in the movie or they're comic book fans. But something that I really wanted to talk about, which was briefly talked about in the movie. If you have not watched Black Panther, one, what is your problem? And two, go see it right now. It's like an amazing film. So I'm gonna briefly talk about it. I'm not giving away any spoilers. However, I am going to be talking about a brief conversation that happened. So if you really don't want to know anything about it at all, I suggest that you skip through the video. I'm gonna put up a sign here, and once the sign is down, that means I'm done talking about it. So I wanted to talk about a brief conversation that took place that I have never in my life heard a movie address. Even Black movies, Black movies, I've never heard them address this. And it was quite interesting. So there was a brief conversation between King T'Challa and Killmonger. And Killmonger basically said that where were you? Where was Wakanda when the colonizers came to get us? Where were you? Where were you? You never came back for us. You never reached out. And that was something that I've always thought about. And if you guys don't know, back in, I believe it was 2012. Back in 2012, I took a trip to Ghana, Africa. Ghana is in West Africa. And if you don't know the history of Ghana, Ghana was, along with Nigeria, one of the biggest affected by slavery. One of the country's large, I don't speak English, guys. I can't speak English. One of the countries that was largely affected by slavery, and it was named the Gold Coast because it had so much gold, and it still has a lot of gold today. And I was there from modeling. I went there for a few fashion shows and photo shoots and even a few interviews as well, which was so amazing, by the way. And when I was there doing the different fashion shows, doing the different events that was going on all around Accra, which is the capital of Ghana, I found myself having different discussions with the local people there. And I remember my mom and I, we had just left church. One of the coordinators invited us to his church, which that experience was crazy. Like, it was so, let's just say I know where we get our spirituality from. Like, the West African people, and I believe African people as a whole, are extremely spiritual people. And I learned so much about Christianity that I'll talk about in another video. But it was so interesting, and a lot of things that we don't know about Christianity in Africa, I learned there in Ghana. So just stick around for another video about that. But after church, we were sitting by a nearby park eating lunch and just discussing, and it was so amazing. And I asked him, and he's a very educated man, I asked him, so how did West Africans feel, or especially Ghanaians, how did Ghanaians feel about the Atlantic slave trade? Because, you know, I explained to him when I learned about the Atlantic slave trade in middle school and high school, most of my classmates who were Black, we reacted in a similar fashion. We were upset, we felt betrayed, we felt, you know, how could this be our history? This is really how we got here, you know? And I've always known about slavery because my family taught that to me, but I learned mostly about the West Indian side of it from Trinidad and Tobago. But learning it from the American standpoint, I was just like, whoa, this is so gruesome. And then we watched every episode of Roots. That's me as a 10-year-old girl learning about Roots and learning about slavery, and then seeing Roots and just feeling like, whoa, like, is my history just nothing? Like, my history was just servitude for 800 years, you know? So I told him about that. I told him about the experience I had learning about the Atlantic slave trade. And so I wanted to pick his brain. What was the Atlantic slave trade, or what was learning about the Atlantic slave trade for you like growing up? And he said for him and his peers, they were just like, it was history class. It wasn't anything that big of a deal. It was just something they learned in school. And I was dumbfounded, you know? So I said, why did West Africans, especially Ghanaians, why did they never try to reach out? Why did they never try to get us back? Why didn't you guys fight for us? And he said that it was never really the intention to fight for us. It was like you were taken away and you were changed. Your culture is different. So it was like you were never really, you're no longer a part of us. And that hurt so bad. And he didn't mean to offend me. He was just telling me what him and his peers have discussed throughout the years. Like, it's like we were different people. And I don't know if there's anybody out there that is having this discussion or made any videos about this, but this was an experience that I can never forget. That it was never an intent to come back for us. And this is not my opinion. This is what this guy has said to me and about his peers. And obviously, I don't believe that every Ghanaian or every West African feels this way. But I'm coming from a West Indian and also an American standpoint when I say, wow, that feels like our people abandon us, you know? Ghana was a place that was colonized as well. So obviously, like, they had limitations of what they could have done. But in the mindset, especially of this gentleman, he basically said we were different people. So there was really no connection to, you know, reach out. So I say that to say that Black Panther really had something going there. They had a really interesting topic that I have never heard in cinematics or in any movie before. And I was able to ask that same question back when I went to Ghana for myself. I love the African continent. I plan on going to different countries in Africa. Particularly, the countries that really interest me are South Africa, Nigeria, and Egypt, and Malawi. Malawi seems really interesting. So, yeah. What do you guys think about this? Now, remember, this is not my opinion. I don't believe that the African people or the Ghanaian people abandon African Americans or African Caribbeans. I do not believe that, or at least purposefully, I don't believe that. But what do you guys think? If you're from the African continent, what is your opinion on this gentleman's statements? And if you're from the African diaspora, what do you think as well? Like, this is such an amazing and interesting conversation that I would love to start, that I was just so happy that this was brought up, you know, in this amazing, amazing movie. So please comment below. What do you guys think about this? This is like something that people talk about, but I don't really hear much about. I would love to hear your point of view. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos. And if you did not know, I am here in Colombia and I am still here in Medellin, and I'm still trying to decide if I want to move here. It's looking like a yes, but who knows? So thanks again for watching, guys. Bye.